The next witness in Corey Richards' trial is Allie Staking. She grew up with Corey. They met in junior high school, and she said that her and Corey were best friends. They attended a Finding True Self retreat in Sedona, Arizona in February of 2021. As a part of the retreat, each of them completed an assignment in which they wrote their life story in third person. Staking did not know the business was in financial distress. Bloodworth asked Staking if she is familiar with Josh Grossman. She knows of him because Corey told her about him. Corey said they were having an affair in June of 2020. On February 20th of 2022, Corey told Staking she had broken things off with Grossman 9 months earlier. Allie, Corey, Eric, and 2 other friends were present. Eric told him that he thought Corey tried to poison him on Valentine's Day, but they thought it was an allergic reaction. They were laughing at the story. Eric jokingly said he thought Corey poisoned him. They teased Eric and Corey was laughing. Everyone was laughing. Corey said that's not what happened and he had an allergic reaction. Now we see the document Corey wrote at the women's retreat, telling her life story in third person. It talks about her mom and dad moving to 17 different states, her mom having an addiction to gambling, Corey's father going to prison, their home getting foreclosed on because of their mom's gambling, cars were repossessed, Corey graduated high school in 2007, Corey got pregnant in college, got married a few years later, had her second son, had her third son in 2016, and life spiraled downhill. She found out her husband was having an emotional affair, went to counseling for anxiety and depression, felt the need to chase happiness because she was never enough for her husband. And now we're on to cross-examination. Allie and her family did things with the Richards family. They went to Hawaii together in early 2018 for a friend's wedding. On the trip, Corey found out Eric hid THC gummies in her suitcase. Corey was upset, but Allie said it was a funny story. Eric thought it was hilarious. According to Allie, Allie lives in California and visited Utah about a month before Eric died. Lewis asks if Allie took THC gummies with Eric that time. She said no. They made Corey sick because they were bad gummies. Allie had taken gummies with the Richards in the past. All the friends did occasionally. Lewis then asked where Allie and her friends were getting the THC gummies. They were from one particular person. Lewis then asked if she was ever there when the gummies were purchased or delivered. She never was. Lewis asked if someone told Allie where the gummies were coming from. She was told. Allie learned about Eric's death from a friend who called her. She cried when she found out and then booked a flight for the very next day. She arrived in Utah on March 5th. Corey was distraught and grieving. Nothing about Corey's behavior struck Allie as unusual. Allie went to an informal celebration of life at the Richards' home the night after Eric died. Here is a picture from that celebration of life. Someone was actually shotgunning a beer. I try not to judge because this is something my family would do. Not me personally, but like my mother's side of the family. Allie says she stayed overnight and was there the next day when A.B. Richards came to the house. Corey was trying to get into his safe that belonged to Eric to see what his will said. She was not able to get into the safe because she didn't know the code. A locksmith was called to try and get into the safe. Amy ran into the garage to stop the locksmith from opening the safe. Corey had pure frustration and rage because she couldn't get into the safe. She was shaking, Allie said. Corey was crying. Lewis asked about the sandwich conversation with Eric and their group of friends. They talked about Eric having an allergic reaction and having to have an EpiPen. They were joking and said, "Don't eat what Corey gives you." Eric did not seem upset and was joking along. Corey and Eric were getting along during the visit. Now the prosecution is asking about the trip to Hawaii and if it was funny because Corey had not been caught with gummies in the luggage. Allie said it was funny because Corey didn't know. Bloodworth then asked if people were using gummies at the celebration of life. Allie doesn't know. Bloodworth asks if Bryce removed his pants. Bryce is Eric's best friend. And Allie said she doesn't remember, but he probably did. So that must be something that Bryce just does. And then the defense attorney comes back up. She has another question about the celebration of life. She asked Allie if she has been to other wakes. She said she had, and she said that there was nothing unusual about this wake. They were trying to keep things light and happy for the kids. Amy, Bryce, and Chelsea also spent the night at the home the night of the wake, and that was the end of her testimony. If you don't want to miss anything, give me a follow. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments.